We welcome you to Invesco Field at Mile High, the home of the Denver Broncos. Today, they play host to the Ravens. The Broncos are led by Brian Griese, the spark plug for the NFL's #2 offense. He'll have to solve Ray Lewis and the Ravens' defense, second best in the NFL. We'll have the opening kickoff after this.
Subway presents Fresh Starts. A look at those teams and players determined to turn heads this season. Subway, eat fresh. In Week 2, San Diego quarterback Doug Flutie passed for 353 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 32-21 victory over the Cowboys, as the Chargers doubled their win total from last season. Head coach Brian Billick's Ravens were upset 21-10 by a Bengals team that recorded 6 turnovers, including 3 interceptions of Baltimore quarterback Elvis Gerbach.
Used to be, Subway's Jared had a few friends. Turns out, he's got an extended family.
Feeling fine and having a great time. We're a Subway family now. Thanks to the Subways in our towns, thanks to the man who showed us how. We love Jared and Subway's taste. Come and join us. It's not too late.
Subway has 7 delicious sandwiches with just 6 grams of fat or less, including our new tasty honey mustard turkey with cucumber, with just 4 grams of fat.
The only thing that's missing is you. Subway, eat fresh.
On an absolutely beautiful day in Denver, welcome everyone to the NFL on CBS. 71 degrees, low humidity. The sun is shining and is expected to do so for the rest of the afternoon. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms and Armin Katayan. We're glad you're joined us as Mike Shanahan's Denver Broncos go for 3 straight to start this NFL season. On the other side of the field, the Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens, headed up by Brian Billick. The Ravens have won the toss, and they have elected to receive. Jason Elam will kick, and the Ravens have Jermaine Lewis back along with Corey Harris. Lewis injured a leg in practice a week ago, missed the game last week against Cincinnati. He's a big boost for their special teams today. And we're underway in Denver. Lewis will not run this one out of the end zone. And so the Ravens will start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, led by quarterback Elvis Gerbach. Gerbach, 33 for 63 in a loss at Cincinnati, and he threw 3 interceptions.
Well, we talked to Elvis Gerbach last night and said, hey, how do you feel? 63 throws, got hit a lot. He goes, physically, I feel good. I'm excited about coming to Denver, he says, and playing this game because the fans, the team is good. He says it's just an exciting place to play football.
Brian Billick telling us that he says all of the local experts telling him, well, you can't win a football game throwing 63 times, and he said, well, no kidding.
Well, they said today they'll come out, try to run the ball, be a little more patient, and play action pass.
Gerbach will throw under the gun over the middle. It's intercepted. On his way to the end zone is Chester McLaughlin. He is dragged down inside the 5, close to the goal line.
Quarterbacks most of the time throw interceptions because they do not have enough time to look down the field to make proper decisions. Blitz by Denver. Gerbach has to get rid of the football, can't get it high enough, and Chester McLaughlin comes up with the interception. But look at the pressure, the blitz by the defense. Kavika Pittman puts the pressure on Elvis Gerbach. He can't even throw the football away.
Nice hands from Chester McLaughlin. 6'4", 334 pounds. And the Ravens turning the ball over at a rate not pleasing to their head coach. 1st and goal. 5 wide receivers for Griese on 1st down. Quick drop, quick throw, touchdown. Dwayne Carswell, the tight end, and the Broncos are on the board in a hurry.
Mike Shanahan wants to show the Broncos the Baltimore defense some things they did not see last year. And 5 wide receivers is going to be one of those looks today. I didn't think he'd bring it out so quick in a situation like that. And Baltimore had trouble lining up to defend it.
Jason Elam for the extra point. 20 seconds into the game. Greasy, completing 71% of his passes, finds Carswell at the goal line. 7-0 Broncos. Elvis Gerbach, 3 interceptions a week ago. Has thrown 1 here today. This is Jermaine Lewis, and this time he'll run it out of the end zone. Hit hard and dropped across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. And onto the field for his second shot at the offense today is Elvis Gerbach.
The Baltimore offensive line, it's big, it's physical, and Benny Anderson starting at right guard today.
In the backfield, Terry Allen and Sam Gash, Kadri Ishmael and Brandon Stokely are the wide receivers, and the former Denver Broncos Shannon Sharpe at tight end. Terry Allen. Allen with a couple up the middle. Delta O'Neal with the stop. And the Bronco defense has Keith Washington and Kavika Pittman on the outside, McLaughlin and Trevor Price inside.
The linebackers for the Broncos, the one thing they all have in common, they can run. Even Bill Romanowski at the age of 35.
Delta O'Neal and Bernard Walker are the corners. Eric Brown and Kenoy Kennedy are the safeties. Ray Rhodes, defensive coordinator for the Broncos, looking on. Terry Allen again. Allen maybe to the 20, just across the 20 to the 21-yard line. Interesting, Chester McLaughlin made that play. We were talking with Mike Shanahan about the big guy, and Mike Shanahan told us, you know, I've heard lots of things about Chester McLaughlin, that maybe he doesn't play hard, and he said, I looked at some film and I couldn't see it.
Couldn't find it. He said he was my #1 guy in free agency I wanted to go after, and he watched film, he brought him in, he talked to him, signed him, and he has been terrific the first 2 games for the Broncos defense.
Mo Williams and Femi Ayanbadejo in the backfield. Gerbach throws incomplete. Travis Taylor, the intended receiver, and onto the field comes the punting unit.
Now Travis Taylor was open. The ball should have been completed, but Elvis Gerbach, even though he's been in this league thrown for over 7,000 yards the last 2 years, you got to be a little gun shy after the interception that really put your team down 7-0. So he was very careful with the throw.
Kyle Richardson, the Baltimore punter, averaging 33 yards a punt, expects to get a few more yards in the mile-high atmosphere. O'Neal from the 25 slips down, and that'll be the line of scrimmage. 54-yard punt by Richardson, and no return, and we'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Samsung, where everyone's invited to a new world of enjoyment. Honda Accord. It's advanced, it's roomy, it's Accord. And by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
As we welcome you back to sunny and picturesque Denver, if the Broncos are looking to avenge that postseason loss from January, they couldn't have started a better way.
Yeah, they got a nice start, Greg, but what I really want to see, I want to see how this Baltimore defense reacts to the Broncos offense. Again, nobody in the backfield.
Greasy with time down the middle and complete. Overthrew Eddie Kennison, his intended receiver.
Well, you look at the Denver offense. The offensive line is led by the center, Tom Nalen.
In the backfield with Brian Greasy is Mike Anderson and Patrick Hape. Rod Smith and Eddie Kennison filling in for injured Ed McCaffrey, and Dwayne Carswell is the tight end.
The empty backfield by the Broncos. That first play, if Brian Greasy has a split second more, it's going to be a big completion down the field.
Mike Anderson, the lone back, is in motion to the far side. Greasy pulls it down and is going to run. Slides down at about the 27-yard line. The Raven defense up front, they are big and aggressive. Burnett, Adams, Siragusa, and Mike McCrary.
The linebackers, 3 first-round picks, and of course Ray Lewis, the defensive player of the year last year.
Terrific corners, and Dwayne Starks and Chris McAllister. The veteran Rod Woodson at free safety. Corey Harris is the strong safety. And there is Marvin Lewis, the brains behind that Baltimore defense.
Again, nobody in the backfield to protect Brian Greasy.
Casper, and Casper has enough for the first down across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. The rookie out of Iowa makes the catch, and that's his first reception of the season.
Well, it's a different look, 3 down linemen, but look at the blitz. It's Carnell Lake coming around, gets the hit, and this might be the big difference for the Denver Broncos offense this year over last year. Brian Greasy, a quicker decision maker than Gus Frerotte, very accurate with his throws, and you saw it right there, gets rid of the football even though Carnell Lake is unblocked.
Anderson and Haight behind Greasy. And this is Anderson to about the 45-yard line. Ray Lewis wraps him up there. A pickup of 3 will make it 2nd and 7.
Well, when you look at this game, Greg, the one thing Mike Shanahan told us on Friday, got to do some things different. Spread the field, see how Baltimore reacts to that, because you want to get, Ray Lewis, Peter Bulwer, you want to get those linebackers spread out. And he goes, and look, you can't run up inside against these guys all the time. It's like hitting your head against a brick wall, and who wants to do that? So a lot of deception by the Broncos offense, and then stick a run in every now and then.
Anderson again, and he will get to midfield. Bulwer and Lewis combining on the stop after a gain of 4. Gary Kubiak looking on.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator calling the plays along with Mike Shanahan, and that was pretty good. The Broncos ran it up in this inside twice, hard, and they get 7 yards. That's about as good as you can do against this Baltimore interior defense.
The running game is the basis for everything that Denver does. Be interesting to see how well they run against this big front line of the Ravens. 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 3. Tipped at the line and falls incomplete.
Well, the thought has been good by this offense. Receivers are open. That time there was a receiver coming underneath who was wide open again, and Sam Adams, number 95, stops the first down by reaching up and knocking the football down.
We've talked about Adams and Siragusa, and they are basically, there you see the block, basically run stoppers, and Adams playing a little pass defense there. Here's Tom Rowan. Good off the side of his foot, still bounces inside the 20, inside the 15, and out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. 37-yard punt and no return, and Gary Kubiak calling the plays upstairs when that ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage. It looked like a first down to him. You see the lack of success that the Ravens enjoyed on first half drives. Field position has been a part of it so far today. They started at their own 20, their own 16, and now from their own 13-yard line. Al Wilson makes the stop on Terry Allen, and we check in with Armin downstairs. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. Considering how this game has started for the Ravens, I'm struck by something that Brian Billick told us last night. He told his team, after that loss to Cincinnati, we could have played a weaker team and won, but why not go out to Denver, play the Broncos on their home field, and find out just how resilient we are as a football team? Well, the Broncos are giving them ample opportunity to do just that. Greg?
All right, Armin. Not that he had much choice in the matter. This is where they were on the schedule. This is Mo Williams, and Williams is stopped at about the 17-yard line. Keith Washington, former Baltimore Raven, in on the tackle.
It's kind of hard when you sit at home to see the differences in games. We had a chance, Greg, to do the playoff game in Baltimore last year. And as I watch this game, I know it's really early, but the Broncos on offense, it's a different scheme. And the defense, Elvis Gerback was right. He says, I expect the Broncos defense to be aggressive against us inside and make me throw it to my wide receivers to be successful, and that's what they've done so far.
Gerback going to roll to his right and throws this side incomplete. His receiver slipped and fell on the play.
And as I make the point, we see it again. Pressure on the quarterback. Elvis, you're going to throw the ball down the field to your wide receivers to have success. And under pressure, throw him before he wants. And Travis Taylor slips. They bring him in motion so nobody can bump him up the line of scrimmage. Denard Walker, boy, nice cut. Very nice cut by the defensive back. Not so good by Travis Taylor.
Baltimore held Denver to just 9 first downs in that postseason game. The Ravens have yet to register a first down here today. High punt, O'Neal with room to return. Can't sidestep the first tackler, and he's down at the 39-yard line. 46-yard punt and a 3-yard return, and we're back after this.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Nextel, how business gets done. And by Staples. Staples has everything you need for your business at great low prices.
We remind you can log on to NFL.com for exclusive online auctions. All proceeds will be donated to the September 11th relief effort. Just go to NFL.com or your AOL keyword, NFL.com. 5 wide receivers on first down. 8:51 to play in the first. Greasy throws this side, complete. Rod Smith, and Smith across midfield and out of bounds at the 45-yard line of the Baltimore Ravens. 15 yards and a first down.
5 wide receivers to do this offense. You need a quarterback who can make quick decisions. Brian Greasy does it, and Rod Smith gets open on a quick move.
And now they'll go without a huddle.
We were kind of expecting this no huddle. This is absolutely a different look for this Baltimore defense.
Quick pass to the far side. That's complete. Not much yardage there for Eddie Kinnison.
And Greg, the no huddle, 5 wide receivers, speed the game up, give the Baltimore defense something new, but also Baltimore's defense, not like a lot of teams in the National Football League, they are big. If you keep completing passes, make them run, Mike Shanahan's hoping to tire him out a little.
Quick drop, quick throw, and that's complete across the 40 to Desmond Clark.
And that's what you got to be good at when you do this type of offense. The quarterback has got to be accurate. Your receivers have got to make catches like Desmond Clark did that time, inside with defenders all around you.
Changes on both sides now as the Broncos go into a huddle.
Well, they're going to go in a short yardage offense. Well, a conventional offense, not a short yardage offense.
3rd and 2. On the end around, slipping and falling is Kinnison. And he is down all the way back to the 43 or 44-yard line, a loss of 6 on the play. And Michael McCrary was there to button up that play on this side.
You know, Greg, something we talked about in the Super Bowl about this Baltimore defense. You see, they talk a lot. You know, they show a lot of bluster, and people think that. But the one thing that makes them so good is they're extremely disciplined. That play illustrated that time. Michael McCrary stays on the backside, doesn't get fooled, and makes the tackle.
Jermaine Lewis is deep. Ruin hits this one high. Bounce at the 5. And the Broncos couldn't save it from bouncing into the end zone. Chris Cole couldn't quite corral it, and Baltimore will start at their own 20 right after this. Field position has been very critical for the Denver Broncos. The Ravens starting with an interception and 2 punts. Allen and Gash in the backfield. Gerback to throw. That's complete out to the 40-yard line, and breaking free is Travis Taylor. Taylor to the 40. And finally run down inside the 20-yard line by Eric Brown. All the way to the 17-yard line, a gain of 63 yards.
The Denver Bronco defense is saying, we dare you to throw it. Look at the safeties in the middle. Nobody underneath. Elvis Gerback, terrific timing, the perfect throw, and Travis Taylor. That's what's going to happen when you dare the offense. If somebody misses a tackle, it's going to be a big play. Death O'Neal misses a tackle, and so does Kenoy Kennedy.
Longest reception of Travis Taylor's young career. Terry Allen tries to bounce it outside, but not much there. John Mobley with the tackle, and we take a check of what's happening in New York with Jim Nance. Jim.
Thank you, Greg. Got to show you the finish at the end of regulation today at Giant Stadium. Aaron Brooks and the Saints need a touch and a 2 to send it to overtime, and Brooks scrambles, and Willie Jackson plucks it out of the air, but he's called for offensive pass interference, plus he came in from out of bounds, lost it down. The game ends with a Giants victory, 21-13. Let's go back out to Denver.
All right, Jim, thank you. Terry Allen up the middle, knocked down at about the 15-yard line. Al Wilson, the Broncos middle linebacker, makes the stop after a 3-yard gain, and it'll be a 3rd and 7.
You know, Greg, we showed a graphic earlier about the Baltimore offense, how it struggled in the first half of its games. And even though they got Elvis Gerback coming in as a quarterback, I think he is a outstanding franchise quarterback, this is just not going to start clicking right from the start. Offensive line in transition, running back situation still in transition, but I can see as time goes on that they will get this together.
Gerback had 2 red zone turnovers last week, and we have a stoppage of the clock at 4:56 in the first quarter. We'll be back. Welcome back to Denver as you look at Elvis Gerback conferring on the sideline. Those are valid points that you make, Phil, talking about the changes that both the Ravens and Gerback has to deal with. And now he has 2 new backs in the game in Mo Williams and Femi Ayambadeja.
Elvis Gerback said something to us last night. It's the little things that are holding him back. And this league is all about the fine-tuning of whatever you're doing in offense or defense.
Straight drop over the middle. That's complete inside the 15-yard line to Travis Taylor. O'Neal on his back limits him to a 2-yard gain.
For this Denver Broncos defense to be better than it was last year, the corners, Deltha O'Neal and Denard Walker, I should say, have to be better covering wide receivers. And this is a good example, not only being close, knowing the situation, and making the tackle to prevent the first down.
Matt Stover, Pro Bowl kicker from a year ago from 29 yards out. And gets it inside the upright. So the Ravens get on the board. Travis Taylor's big reception, the big play in the drive. Travis Taylor, the big 63-yard reception to key that Baltimore drive. You'll recall the Ravens lost him in the middle of last season to the broken clavicle.
And for this Ravens offense to really make a step forward, number 89, Travis Taylor's got to become their go-to receiver.
From the 7-yard line, it's Casper. Casper out to the 35, 36-yard line. Adalius Thomas makes the stop after a 28-yard return, and the speedy Casper has certainly been one of the apples of Mike Shanahan's eye this young season.
Yeah, he's jumped out. Special teams, returning kickoffs like that, Greg, and we saw him catch his first pass of his career on the Broncos opening drive. And look, we saw him on Friday, and first thing I said, hey, who does your hair? Platinum blonde, and he had a good laugh about it. Fixes it once a month. And we'll tell you a few things about Kevin Casper as we get a chance later in the day.
He's a different guy. Greasy, quick drop, quick pass over the middle. Desmond Clark with the catch, and appears to have enough for a first down.
You know, it's interesting as we watch this Bronco offense, you can see their plan's pretty good. They've had a chance to have 2 sustained drives, and we're a little unlucky to get them both stopped. But what did Ray Lewis tell us last night? He says the fact that they have their quarterback, that's big, not only because of what he does physically, but they believe now that they've got a chance because he puts confidence into them.
On first down, the give is to Orlando's Gary, and Gary out to midfield, and Lewis is there to make the tackle.
And that's what happens, too, the belief, and we've seen it so far. Watch Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker, reads it, coming right. Tom Nalen misses the tackle or the block, and Ray Lewis all over the tackle. You know, we watch game tapes, and Greg, you watch them, and you can pick out Ray Lewis, and you can go through a course of a whole game, and he will never get blocked one single time.
Straight ahead over midfield to about the 47-yard line. And you know, what Lewis had to say about Brian Greasy was interesting too. He said he simply believes that, you know, while Greasy comes into this game completing 71% of his passes, Ray Lewis told us he's getting too much time back there.
Yeah,
he's absolutely getting too much time to throw the football.
Well, see, the Ravens defense, they look at everything through a different eye than the rest of the league does. But yeah, Brian Greasy gets protected pretty well, and they think the difference in their defense is going to be the fact they will pressure him to make decisions fast.
Go.
3rd and 3. Rod Smith in motion. Greasy to the throw and has a man wide open across the middle, and Clark out of bounds close to the 25-yard line. That'll be another first down. 21-yard pickup on the play.
Well, that was a nice-looking play by the Denver offense. James Trapp has Clark, see what it gets picked by his own man on the side of the field. That's why Desmond Clark is wide open. James Trapp ran into his own man, and nobody's covering the tight end as he comes across the field.
And you know, we keep referring to that postseason game in which the Ravens defense was so dominant. It bears repeating that Brian Griese, due to injury, was not a part of that game. Anderson, the lone back behind Griese on first down. Anderson trying to cut back, bouncing off a couple of tacklers, and makes it to the 25-yard line.
I think 9 people on the Baltimore defense got a lick in that time.
That wild card game taking place in Baltimore. The Denver offense came in on fire, was held to 3 points, 177 total yards. They crossed midfield against Baltimore once all day long.
What I say, Mike Shanahan, are you going to have a different plan? He goes, absolutely.
That one didn't seem to work.
Gave me that look like, what are you kidding?
The give is Anderson to about the 25.
You know, Ray Lewis again on the tackles. We talk about this Baltimore defense. Of course, it's extremely talented physically. Good job. Nobody again gets to Ray Lewis. That's because of those 2 interior defensive linemen. But the biggest thing is not only the talent they have, but the discipline. Nobody gambles. That's why they don't give up many big plays.
3rd and 9 as we come up on half a minute to play in the first quarter. From the 5 wide receiver set. Griese escapes the pressure, stopped, throws across the field, incomplete. 83 is Travis McGriff coming from the other side of the field, and Jason Elam and the field goal unit come on.
Well, that was a good look for Brian Griese that time. Trouble gets out of it, doesn't take a sack, and allows his team to have a much better chance of making the field goal.
This will be a 43-yard field goal attempt by Jason Elam. And this one is straight enough and long enough.
You know, a lot of times, Greg, you talk about Brian Griese, and everybody gives the credit to Mike Shanahan and his offense. Of course, that has a lot to do with success of a quarterback. But what really helps Brian Griese so much is his feet. And we'll take a look at it, the play that just happened. Trouble coming at him. He's allowed to get, he allows himself, because of his good feet, to get away. Ray Lewis untouched. Brian Griese gets outside. And the one thing, when you look at Brian Griese, you see those good feet. It makes me think back to when I was a child and I used to watch the Miami Dolphins play, and this guy.
Those feet are inherited.
That's exactly right. Bob Griese, besides throwing a really pretty ball all the time, had very good feet. And Mike Shanahan, when he worked out Brian Griese, that's the first thing that jumped out. He says, hey, this guy might run a 5-flat 40, but he has got the feet of a person who runs about a 4.5 40. And that's the reason why they drafted Brian Griese. And there's somewhere up in there, I can see him in the top. There he is, behind the pole. Bob Griese
stopped into the booth and said hello earlier.
Did the Texas A&M game yesterday against Notre Dame.
Notre Dame lost that game, didn't they? Jermaine Lewis inside the 5. And is down at about the 16 or 17-yard line. Chris Cole, the second-year man, making the stop after a 15-yard return.
And, you know, just to finish it off, because, you know, I hate to do comparisons, too, but I heard Mike Shanahan say this once during the offseason to me. He goes, Brian Griese, and he gave me the look now, take this the right way. He has the feet. They're so good. They're a lot like Joe Montana's. And, you know, Joe Montana had the prettiest feet I've ever seen in the National Football League. But Brian Griese's very, very close to that. And that's why he can get rid of the football so quick, because he can get in position to get rid of it.
Under pressure, the swing pass to Allen. And Allen out of bounds at about the 25-yard line, chased out by Eric Brown after a gain of 9. It'll be 2nd and 1.
Now Elvis Gurr back on the other hand, 6'6". Tremendous feet for a guy that tall, but he is getting hit way too much as a starting quarterback. And we saw it last week against the Cincinnati Bengals. They hit him many times, and he's hit the deck about 3 or 4 times already today.
7 seconds remaining, and the clock continues to run. Gerback will not get this play off before time expires. here in the first quarter. We have played 15 minutes here in Denver. The Broncos with a 10-3 lead on the Baltimore Ravens. We're coming back to Invesco Field at Mile High for the start of the second quarter after this. We remind you the Nextel halftime report. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry have scores, highlights, and the latest NFL news, all coming up on the Nextel halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Armin Katayan. Start of the second quarter. Broncos with a 10-3 lead. And Gerback to throw. Wide open, and he hit him across the 40 to the 45-yard line. Travis Taylor having a big day. That's a 21-yard pickup and a first down.
You know, I'm curious as this year goes along to watch the development of these wide receivers for the Baltimore Ravens. Because last year they threw so few times that the receivers never got in rhythm. But look at Travis Taylor in the middle, reads his zone, sits down, and a perfect throw by Elvis Gerback. Throws it to his back shoulder, makes him turn around so that way he won't take too hard of a hit.
Straight ahead and room to run with Terry Allen. And Eric Brown makes the stop. First thing we asked Brian Billick last night is, are you going to go back to your run? Or more accurately, did you kind of lose faith in your running game last week against Cincinnati? And he said, maybe, yeah, a little bit, but I think you'll see more of a concentration on it today.
Well, they know what's successful. They know their defense is going to be consistent and play well all year long. Be patient with your running game. Stay with it. And the play action passes with Gerback should be outstanding.
To the run again. Allen spinning inside the 40 to about the 39-yard line. You remember, these Baltimore Ravens lost a terrific running back in Jamal Lewis to a knee injury for the season.
Elvis Gerback comes to Baltimore. He goes, oh, good defense, tremendous running back. I'm thinking play action passes. It's going to. I said, Elvis, with Jamal Lewis as your running back, you would have had 30 big passing plays off of play action this year. And he goes, oh, absolutely easy.
Whistle blows. This play will not count. Bill Levy is our referee today.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 64, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second.
That's the left guard, Edwin Mulatalo.
But the one thing, you know, so we do it, Greg. We overreact to what happened to the Baltimore Ravens last week in Cincinnati. Remember last year, they played so many close games. And what did Ray Lewis said? He said the #1 goal of all the teams that we play now are going to be, they're not going to let us bully them around. They just want to make sure we don't bully them like we did last year. So they know they're going to be in for tough fights every week.
Gerback play fakes and throws, and the pass is complete to John Jones. And Jones is flipped, but appears to have enough for the first down.
I think John Jones showed a little bit of athletic ability right there. And he's big, tall. I think he's going to be a terrific pass receiver. Shannon Sharp, him. Todd Heap, the first-round draft pick. The tight end position is in really good hands down in Baltimore now.
Heap is out with an ankle injury. John Jones seeing more action today. The second-year man from Indiana, Pennsylvania. Mo Williams, the lone back behind Gerback. And he gets the handoff. Inside the 30 to the 28-yard line, Trevor Price with the tackle after a pickup of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7. There's been a change in the defensive tackle position for these Denver Broncos. Keith Traylor was alongside Price last year and went elsewhere, and as we talked about earlier, Mike Shanahan said Chester McLaughlin absolutely was the #1 person in his eye.
Well, coaches, Mike Shanahan's played against Chester McLaughlin so many times with the Raiders and Kansas City. We couldn't block him, so let's get him over to our side and see if somebody else can block him.
Straight ahead is Terry Allen following Sam Gash's block, and once again Trevor Price is there to stop the play.
You know, it strikes me we're seeing the Ravens on offense. Brian Billick told us we would see all 3 running backs, Terry Allen, Mo Williams, and
the first-year man Jason
Brookings, all 3. He rotates them in and out.
Sam Gash off to the sideline. 3rd and 6. Ian Badejo and Terry Allen are in the backfield. And the crowd comes alive. Gerback to the throw. Incomplete. Penalty marker is down. That was Deltha O'Neal on Qadri Ismail. And the interference call is going to go against the Denver Broncos.
Interference. Defense 24. Automatic down.
Well, we're so far away, but you can tell right away that it's pass interference. The fact that Qadri Ismail is running down the field, and you can see his stride change, and that only tells you one thing. Deltha O'Neal must have stuck an arm out, grabbed him or whatever to make him change his running gait.
Advances the football to the 9-yard line, where it'll be 1st and goal for the Baltimore Ravens. They trail by 7. Allen tripped up at the line of scrimmage, may have gotten a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and goal. Terry Allen has been a little bit defensive. Everyone looking to him to fill in for Jamal Lewis, and he said, you know, we're doing our best out there. I think he told one reporter, if you think you can do it better, you go out there and do it.
Well, listen, first, it's not even fair. He's not Jamal Lewis, and the offensive line does have changes in it. They're trying to get it together, so it's tough for a running back, especially Terry Allen at this time.
Gerback play fakes and throws for the corner of the end zone and overthrows his intended receiver, Qadri Ismail.
Well, when I watch this Baltimore Ravens offense, as we did quite a few of their games down the stretch last year, what they're doing now does not even resemble what they looked like last year. You know, there's more flow to it, more imagination, and Elvis Gerback is just a better thrower. And so when these receivers get open, he's able to hit them down the field.
We have a timeout on the field. And it is called by the Baltimore Ravens. That's their 2nd timeout used here in the first half.
You know, what did Brian Billick tell us last night about Elvis Gerback? Now, Brian Billick's worked with a lot of good quarterbacks, especially when he was up in Minnesota. He had Jeff George, Randall Cunningham, and they all did very well. And Brad Johnson, he goes, I got higher expectations and feel better about working with Elvis Gerback than any other of the quarterbacks I've worked with. So that tells you the confidence he has in him, what he expects, and I think they know when the end of the year comes up, you're going to look at Elvis Gerback and go, it's a pretty good year.
Gerback and the Ravens are 0 for 3 on 3rd down so far today. And they look at a 3rd and goal with the line of scrimmage, the 8-yard line. It's funny how things change from year to year. We talked about it with Ray Lewis last night. The Ravens finished up the season looking absolutely invincible. And then they get knocked off by the Cincinnati Bengals last week. Ian Badejo, the lone back on 3rd and goal. Gerback throws into the end zone, incomplete, and Qadri Ismail ended up on the ground looking for a call that doesn't come.
Well, I've noticed one thing that's been pretty consistent so far in this game. The Baltimore receivers are falling down a lot. A couple slips. I couldn't tell that time if Ismail was tripped or just fell down.
One of the things we wanted to know from Mike Shanahan is what the players thought about this field, this brand new stadium, and he said they like it.
Like the turf, fast, easy to cut on, they said.
Stover from 26 yards out is good. So the Denver defense stops the Ravens. It's 10-6. Baltimore drive stymied inside the 10-yard line. They settle for a field goal, and they trail 10-6. And Stover set to kick it away. Casper is at the goal line for the Broncos. And this will be the speedy Casper from the 1. 20, 25. Breaking outside, still on his feet across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Excellent field position for Brian Griese and the Denver offense.
By Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. The makers of Lamasil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot. And by Coors Light, proud partner of the John Wayne Cancer Institute and their search for a cure.
Welcome back to Denver. There's Kevin Casper with the terrific return, and there's that hairdo you were talking about.
I think he got it redone since we talked to him. It looks even blonder or flat. I don't know what you call that color.
Greasy on first down. Over the middle. Batted down and almost intercepted by number 55, Jamie Sharper, and we go down to Armin.
Thanks, Greg. You know, you talk about Kevin Casper and just how impressive he is physically, this 44-inch vertical jump, explosive speed. But the most impressive thing may have been when he stood in front of the team one day during their workouts before they start to practice. And the rookies have to do different things. So Casper stood in his full uniform right in front of the team and did a complete backflip, landed on his feet. Romanowski told us yesterday, he goes, okay, I'm impressed. That works for me.
Oh, I don't know. One of the most impressive things to me was what he eats, or rather what he doesn't eat. Greasy, quick pass. That's complete. Rod Smith. Smith out over the 45 and appears to have enough for a Denver first down.
This is just good game planning by the Denver Bronco coaches. Watch this. Fake upfield, get the screen, and then the blocks by the tight end down the field, and Rod Smith, a terrific inside runner once he catches the football.
We mentioned what Ray Lewis said earlier about how Greasy just had, in his opinion, too much time to throw last week. He said, you know, Greasy and Rod Smith were just playing pitch and catch.
Yeah, well, they do that. Rod Smith is one of the best kept secrets in the National Football League for the last few years. What he has done in his career in the first 2 games of this year are terrific. But look at last week alone against the Arizona Cardinals. That's what Ray Lewis was talking about. They were just playing pitch and catch. And even though the Baltimore defense is very cognizant of where Rod Smith is, Denver lines him up everywhere. They put him in motion. They run special plays for him. It's hard to stop him from catching his number of passes.
Greasy pulls it down, throws this side, and has his man across midfield at Patrick Haight. And Haight is up close to another first down. Greasy first looked left, saw double coverage coming, and pulled it down and came back this way.
I tell you, that was a terrific job of not throwing it down the left sideline. Watch it to Rod Smith. He fakes. He's going to go. It would have been intercepted. Holds it up, and then finds his outlet receiver, Haight in the right flat. And Marvin looks very animated as a defensive coordinator. Runs up and down the sideline with his team to yell instructions to him whenever he can.
Greasy is at 6 different receivers today. And not looking for a first down, straight ahead. And let's see if Mike Anderson got there or not. It appears to be a bit short.
Well, you could hear with the sound there, Greg. It is tough to run inside on the Baltimore Ravens defense. You hear it so much, but their inside tackles are so big, so athletic, that it allows Ray Lewis, Peter Boulware, all the linebackers to run around and make the tackle.
3rd and 1. And again, the 5 wide receiver set. And Greasy is going to keep it and pull ahead for the first down.
Well, there's no doubt in that situation. Don't take a chance. Don't throw it. Spread them out and just let your quarterback get the foot for you. But you could see if you're at home watching, the plan has been good by the Broncos. When you're playing good athletes, try to make them cover more parts of the field, and that's what they're doing.
Mike Anderson gets tripped up by Mike McCrary. You know, we talked about that Baltimore run defense. If you look at those 2 guys in the middle, Tony Siragusa and Sam Adams, if you go by the published numbers, that's about 670 pounds of beef.
Well, not only that, then you got Michael McCrary on the outside, number 99. We told Mike Shanahan, hey, he's gained about 30 pounds over last year, and Shanahan goes, oh, good. When they gain weight, they might be slower. But if you watch the films and you watch the games, he has not slowed down at all.
Quick pass, and that is tipped and it falls incomplete. Number 21 over there, Chris McAllister, was hoping for a pick.
And that's got to be one of the big coaching points for the Ravens defensive linemen. It is going to be hard to get to Brian Greasy and sack him. They get rid of the football very quickly. So make your initial move, and if it's not right to the quarterback, stop, watch the quarterback, and then try to bat the passes down.
Here is Rob Burnett, part of that terrific front 4 for the Baltimore Ravens. 3rd and 11. And again, the Broncos spread the field. Under the gun, and down goes Greasy. Peter Boulware, one of the blitzing linebackers, is the one that got to him. That's Boulware's second sack of the season.
Well, every once in a while, the Baltimore Ravens let Peter Boulware actually be one of the defensive linemen. Comes from Brian Greasy's right side. Because he's a pass rusher in these situations, he's smaller, but he's much quicker than a defensive lineman, and sometimes it catches an offensive lineman off guard.
That's only the second sack allowed by the Denver offensive line this year, and Jermaine Lewis is deep to take the kick from Tom Ruin. Lewis from the 6. Dropped down close to the 10-yard line, and again, with Keith Burns leading the charge, Denver puts a cap on special teams play by the Baltimore Ravens. Keith Burns with the tackle. The Ravens will start deep in their own territory when we come back. You can see by those numbers that Elvis Gerback and the Baltimore offense has been starting in a hole all day long. Jason Brookins is in the backfield now on first down. Gerback throws, and that's complete to the tight end, Shannon Sharp, and the ex-Bronco makes his first reception of the day. Shannon Sharp creeping up on Ozzie Newsome for the all-time number of catches and yardage by a tight end in NFL history.
Well, he's been a terrific player. You heard a few boos as he caught that pass, but not many. They respect what he did here as a Denver Bronco, and he has been a terrific influence on the young receivers for the Baltimore Ravens.
Gerback throws to nobody. Nobody over there.
We might get something here. Yep, there it goes. Good teamwork by the officials.
And that'll be intentional grounding and loss of a down.
I'm just trying to decide, what was Elvis Gerback trying to argue there? We'll give you a look at it here in a minute.
Intentional grounding. Number 18 offense. Penalty is at the spot of the foul. Lost it down.
Watch it. Elvis Gerback's going to go back. He's going to throw out in this area. Are there any receivers even close? No. When you throw the football away, just strictly just trying to avoid a sack like that, when you're under pressure, they're going to throw the flag.
So now, 3rd and 17, the Ravens from their own 3-yard line. Iambadejo, nowhere, maybe a yard. Trevor Price, Kavika Pittman on the stop, and onto the field comes the punting unit.
You know, and that's the only play you can really run in a situation like that. Communication was probably zero. Elvis Gerback's got the fans right behind him. The crowd's pumped, the players are pumped. Only bad things could happen to your offense, so run the football.
Here in Invesco, the fans are very, very close to the playing field down in the end zone. Kyle Richardson kicking it out of his own end zone, and O'Neal standing near midfield. Denver should have great field position coming out of this. Nice kick by Richardson. Goes all the way back to his own 30-yard line. O'Neal picks up a block, shakes off a tackler, and out across the 40 to about the 42-yard line. 65-yard punt, 12-yard return, and Brian Billick feeling a little frustrated as this game wears on.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Switchboard.com. Find what you're looking for on Switchboard.com. It's the Yellow Pages, Electrify, and by Miller High Life.
As you look at the numbers each team has gained, it's a 10-6 Denver lead. Baltimore is the one racking up the yardage but can't convert anything but field goals.
And it's interesting because I think Denver has done so many good things on offense. Then you look down and they got 97 yards on offense so far in this game.
Greasy going to throw over the middle, has his man, and that is Desmond Clark. Clark to about the 35-yard line. There's a loose football. The Ravens say they have it. And the officials agree.
Nice play by the Broncos offense. Greasy gets rid of the football again quickly, right on target, and Down the middle. Boy, nice catch by Desmond Clark, turning around. Big hit by Woodson. Oh, that is terrific. Corey Harris comes in and knocks it out with his hand.
Corey Harris knocks it out and recovers the fumble.
Big hit. Now watch the hand come in as he's going down and knocks it out.
So Harris with the recovery, and the Ravens are back in business on offense.
Well, the Broncos have had about 3 or 4 chances for drives, for scoring drives, and something's gone, knockdown pass, a failed reverse, turnover here. And not only that, they didn't score. Now Baltimore's going, oh man, finally better field position where they can operate their offense again.
161 offensive plays for the Broncos, their first turnover of this young season. Brookins and Gash in the backfield behind Gerback. Gerback with time to sign, throws far side, incomplete. Travis Taylor, the intended receiver. And number 27 over there, Denard Walker, is looking for a call against Taylor. And it appeared that Travis might have given him a little push.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. Down the field, but the throw is perfect by Elvis Gerback because Denard Walker does not turn, so he throws it to his back shoulder. Travis Taylor's the only one that can turn and catch it, and you know, replays never make it look as bad as it really is. When live, you could see the push by Travis Taylor.
Gerback under the gun, throws, tipped incomplete. And Gerback was hit hard by Bill Romanowski.
Denver made a mistake on defense, and they are really lucky. That time, nobody was even covering Shannon Sharpe as he went down the field. Pressure on the quarterback made him get rid of it. Romanowski with the hit. And watch Shannon Sharpe go down the field. Maybe Romanowski had him in coverage. Wide open. Gerback has to get rid of the football, though.
3rd and 10. Gerback flips out the screen to the far side. This is Mo Williams, and Williams falls across the 40 to the 42-yard line. He'll be short of a first down.
The perfect call for that situation. It's going to pick up a first down. Bill Romanowski stops it because he is able to outrun the offensive lineman to get to the running back that time. And that's what Bill Romanowski said to us the other day. This game is about speed and running, and he goes, I can run with the best of them.
Romanowski and Shannon Sharpe, just notorious talkers, have been notoriously quiet this week leading up to this game. O'Neal is deep. Another fine kick by Kyle Richardson. O'Neal calls for the fair catch, lets it bounce, and it's going to roll dead inside the 5-yard line. So for once, the Broncos will start deep in their own territory, and when
you know,
another game I wouldn't be any good at.
Anything to do with running, you'd be out of.
Oh, they don't run. I mean,
whatever.
Traveling, jump on a train, and, you know.
It's a play of words. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Working hard. I don't know what you're doing. But I find this game really fascinating, and the tempo is so fast that you can tell when you're sitting here watching it how good both of these teams are, and it's just so difficult for either side to sustain anything.
Here's Mike Anderson, and Anderson is wrapped up just after he got the ball by Sam Adams.
And that really illustrates a lot. Look at Sam Adams. Just, hell, he's big standing next to all these NFL players. And the thing is, he's so big, and everybody always thinks, oh, he's big, that's why he's good. He is a terrific athlete. If you watch him, and if you get a chance at home and you're just watching how he can run up and down the line of scrimmage, he can get blocked, hit the ground, and be up and tackling the runner in the same motion.
Greasy throwing out of his own end zone, has his man, and that's Rod Smith. And Smith out close to the 20-yard line. It's enough for a first down.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, Brian Greasy, you got to have some nerves from your own end zone. Watch as he goes back. Nice protection this time, but he sticks it in. Oh, defenders everywhere, outside, inside, behind him. And Rod Smith, nice there, gets rid of Dwayne Starks, pushes him away, and gets the first down.
So the line of scrimmage now, the 19-yard line. Smith 3 catches on the day. incomplete, and this time his intended receiver, Dwayne Carswell, was double covered.
Even though the Broncos are doing so many different things, the Ravens, because of the way they're coached and they're just having so many good athletes, are able to adjust to it.
Phil, why do you think that we haven't really seen that hallmark of the Denver offense running the football as much today?
Well, the Broncos offense, when they run the football, it's about cutting defenders down and the runner going through it. When you play a team as athletic as the Ravens, you can't cut them down. And if you do, they get up and make the tackle.
The run is to the right side this time and out to about the 22-yard line is Anderson. And with that, we reach the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Denver. The Broncos with the ball and a 4-point lead. Coming up on the Nextel halftime report, we'll take you to New York. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry have scores, highlights, and the latest NFL news. It's all coming up on the Nextel halftime report.
You know, Greg, during the break, we're just talking. You can really, here in the stadium, you can just feel the tension from the players, the fans, because they know what's going on here. It's two of the best teams, and
neither team being able to run the ball very well so far today. 3rd and 7. Denver, all 3 of its timeouts remaining. Greasy over the middle. Penalty marker flies as Rod Smith pulls it into the 30-yard line.
Wow, you think Rod Smith is not tough? Ray Lewis just gave him the best of everything he had, and he still held on to that football. And he might be coming out of the game, too.
The penalty appears to be going against the Broncos.
I think one of the offensive linemen.
Holding. Number 62, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That's right guard Dan Neal.
He was holding Sam Adams. Let's just watch the hit. Rod Smith over the middle. Dart by Greasy. Watch Ray Lewis. Sees the quarterback, comes off of his receiver, and makes a vicious hit on Rod Smith.
And Rod Smith has come off on the sideline. There you see him. Chris Cole, the 2nd-year wide receiver from Texas A&M, is on the field. 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 17. Throwing this side and out of bounds as Greasy was under big pressure from Ray Lewis. So Tom Rowan comes on the field to kick it away, and Jermaine Lewis will be deep.
You know, I'm just thinking, Greg, if I was a quarterback, usually quarterbacks want to throw the ball a lot when they're playing. I'd be looking to the sideline. That run's looking good, you know, against this Baltimore Raven defense, because they can pressure the quarterback from a lot of different looks.
What do you mean, if you were a quarterback?
Well, if I was still playing.
Ah, there you go. Nice kick by Rowan. Lewis from the 36, 40, and up to about the 44-yard line. Next Sunday, the NFL on CBS has regional action. We will be in Baltimore, where Eddie George will lead the Titans against Ray Lewis and these Ravens. Others will see the Patriots take on the Dolphins. Kansas City visits the Broncos here in Denver, or the Jets tangle with the Buffalo Bills. We ask you to check your local listings for these and other games. It all begins with the NFL Today.
You know what? Every one of those games look good next week.
Absolutely. You see, we're going to have to add Dion to that picture.
Not bad.
First half drives have come up empty as far as scoring touchdowns are concerned. Ian Badejo with the handoff up to midfield. As we come up on 1.5 minutes to play, the Ravens with 1 timeout. Pickup of 6 and make it 2nd and 4. And Baltimore in its hurry-up offense. Gerback with time over the middle, has his man wide open, and that's Ian Badejo. So Ian Badejo on the run and then on the pass reception, and it's enough for a 1st down.
Don't waste it down here, kill the clock.
And Gerback does just that and stops the clock with 65 seconds to play.
And they got to do that because they only have 1 timeout, Greg, and they used them for crowd noise or lack of communication so far in this half. And generally the rule for football teams is, this is the way I was always taught, in the first half, if you need them, take them. In the second half, boy, it better be a disaster when you take that timeout. Save them for the end of the game in case you need them to help you win the game.
2nd and 10. Gerback with good protection. The pass to Brandon Stokely. And that's Stokely's first reception. Clock continues to move. Pick up of 3. It's 3rd and 7. And now the clock stops on the field with 52 seconds to play.
Well, watch Brandon Stokely coming across the field. It's receivers in the National Football League now. If you want to catch the ball, if you want to be part of your offense, you got to make tough catches like that one. And Brandon Stokely, I think he'd rank that up as a pretty tough catch.
We were talking with Brandon Stokely and congratulating him. He is engaged to be married on the 23rd of February to an All-American softball player.
Yes.
Lana.
Well, you see that picture of him right there. He was in the room with us. Elvis Gerback was in there, and Elvis Gerback is going, hey, Spotty. And I go, why are you calling him Spotty? Well, him and Kevin Casper have something going there because Brandon Stokely kind of tinted his hair, so in the back of his head, he's got some light brown spots.
3rd and 7.
It looked good, though.
Gerback floats away from the blitz and throws it out of bounds. 52, Ian Gold was applying pressure from the near side.
Years ago in the NFL, that was a really good play. Sprint your quarterback out, your receivers would run down the sideline, get away from the pass pressure. But nowadays, as soon as they see it, they know what's going to happen, and it just gets almost impossible to complete a pass when the quarterback's rolling out like that.
The Denver defense has been terrific on 3rd down. They have stopped the Ravens 7 times here in the first half. Richardson will try to plant this one inside the 20-yard line. And this will blow before the snap. They have game as the play clock wound down. So we'll back it up 5 yards and do it again. You know, Brian Billick, we expected, well, just really wondered if he would be, you know, what his demeanor would be after the loss to Cincinnati.
The 5-yard penalty is accepted. 4th down.
Very philosophical about it. You know, He had a chance to win a couple of times. He had a chance to go ahead, and it just didn't happen.
Come on, we know the NFL. Anybody can win every week, and I don't know why I was so shocked either. Yes, the Ravens are really good on defense. They're not unbeatable, of course, Greg. And just, again, look back to last year. They were Super Bowl champions, and all the games that they played that were extremely close. And as Brian Billick told us last night, hey, why would this season be any different? Every game is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough season. And he goes, good. That's just the way this league is.
Richardson gets it away, and O'Neal will let this one fly, and it goes out of bounds, and it will be a touchback. It'll come out to the 20-yard line.
Kyle Richardson says, man, trade me to Denver.
This air does wonders for your average.
Yeah, that ball goes up there. It's like out of one of those machines you see on a practice field. Perfect spirals and hit them about 60 to 70 yards in the air.
So Brian Griese has all 3 of his timeouts and 39 seconds to work with. Speaking of the ball traveling, he also has Jason Elam, who shares the NFL record for longest field goal at 63. Look at the numbers for the quarterbacks. And rather than try anything extravagant, the Broncos are going to let the clock wind down on this first half. Denver with a 10-6 lead, and let's go down to Armin Catane.
Mike, your thoughts on the first half, which has the look of a very high-level chess match?
Well, they're doing a good job. We had a chance down here, but we turned the football over, and you can't turn the football over against a great defensive football team. When you do move it, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. Hopefully do that in the second half.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. Greg?
All right, Armin. So Mike Shanahan goes off the field with already more points than he saw his team score in the playoff game against the Baltimore Ravens last January. Our halftime score, Denver 10 and Baltimore 6. Coming up, off to Jim Nantz for the Nextel halftime report. Jim, Mike, Randy, and Jerry will get you caught up on all the scores, highlights, and NFL news. That's after these messages from your local station.
Everyone's going to be cutthroat.
Survivor Africa premieres CBS Thursday, October 11th. CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Nextel Halftime Report. Jim Nantz from our NFL Today studios. Hello there, Jerry Glanville, Randy Cross, Mike Ditka.
Hey, my friend.
I'm doing very well, thank you. And so are the Broncos at halftime, although they're not getting much out of the running game. 14 carries, 13 yards, but leading after that pick on the first play of the game. Then the touchdown pass from Greasy. Elsewhere, Cincinnati just tied it in San Diego, 7-7.
Watch this fade route. Three-step drop. Oh, it's the wrong team. Fade, throw it out there. Chad Johnson for the touch.
Keyshawn's cousin. That was just seconds ago. Cincinnati tying it. Those two surprising teams at 2-0 early in the season. How about this? Last December, Cleveland was clobbered at Jacksonville, 48-0. Now it's 13-0 Cleveland.
This is not your everyday Cleveland Browns, and this is Jamel White. He's taking over for Jackson. He's in for the touchdown. They've added a field goal, 13-0.
Jackson taking to the locker room. James Jackson with a rib injury. Meanwhile, Seattle getting slaughtered at Oakland. Hasselbeck has no chance. He's been sacked 4 times. They're under 100 yards total offense.
Yeah, and Jerry Rice has 2 touchdowns. This is the first one. You talk about those 4 sacks by the Raider defense. Trent Dilfer's got to be in the sideline and say, don't put me in behind that offensive line.
So Jerry Rice's first 2 touchdowns as a Raider, 24-0. Atlanta over Arizona, and Jamal Anderson out with a knee sprain. Falcons will lead by 7. Earlier today, how about this? Kurt Warner is now 16-0 all-time at home as the Rams quarterback.
24-31, 328, 4 touchdowns. Watch this. He's grabbed, he gets it away. Marshall Falk scored 3 times.
First win is the
and
KC
it's
coach.
because of one guy, Priest Holmes. What a day. 225 total yards, 3 TDs. He caught it, he ran it, he blocked it, he did it all.
All right, Randy, Giants and Saints, we come down to the final play today.
Well, at this point, the Giants were ahead 14-10 because Ron Dayton had about 111 yards rushing. Strahan had 3 sacks, but Jared Vicious put him up 21-10 at that point. What happens next? New Orleans had kicked a field goal. It was down by 8. Here comes Brooks looking for Willie Jackson. Sees him. He's open. Jackson's called for pass interference and for running out of bounds. Illegal touch coming back in.
Minnesota at the end, undaunted as Culpepper takes him in for the win.
Quarterback Jaw Culpepper. What a day he had. 322 yards passing. He dumped it off to 7 different receivers.
Brett Favre had a big day. 309 total yards, 25-39, 3 TDs. And Green Bay wins, only giving up 1 more touchdown. I tell you, they're good.
And how about Green Bay? It hasn't lost a game since last December.
Right.
7 straight wins for the Packers, who are now 3-0 on this season. Thanks for being with us on the Nextel Halftime Report.
CBS Sports presents the Nextel Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.
Monday.
What?
Guess who's...
Direct Connect Halftime Report. Nextel, get right through.